This evening, President Ali made an impromptu visit to Meadowbank Wharf. Opposition calling for international intervention into allegations of bribery and corruption against the vice president. Anna Katerina Mann appeared in court charged with pelting a police officer with a brick. In the region, Mexico rations water in the city of Monterrey amid extreme drought. And internationally, Bangladesh, schools in flood-hit northeast reopen. Welcome to another broadcast of Channel 2's Headline News Updates. I am Bibi Bacchus. Thank you for joining us. President Dr. Mohammed Irfan Ali early this morning made an impromptu visit to the Meadowbank Wharf. The president toured the facility and interacted with wholesale and retail fish vendors to get a first-hand experience of the challenges persons are facing there. A task force will be immediately established to advance a long-term master plan to ensure a conducive work environment for the hundreds of fisher folks who ply their trade at the Meadowbank Wharf. The president's detailed assessment was a response to the numerous complaints he received via letters from stakeholders who frequent the Fisheries hub daily.
A few weeks ago, I received a letter from a lot of the stakeholders here outlining a number of issues, and I wanted to understand the issues myself. I wanted to be out here in the working environment to understand the challenges that they are faced with in the environment that they operate in. So that is why I decided to come this morning so that I can interact with them. I can actually see physically the challenges that they're facing, and there are a number of challenges that they have here from a infrastructure perspective, from a security perspective. I've asked the Minister of Agriculture to immediately deploy a task force here to look at some of the low-hanging fruits, improving the environment, improving the security. I thought the police will have to work immediately and establishing a permanent presence here to support the industry here, looking at some lighting facilities, washroom facilities, and water, and then look at a more holistic development plan for the area.
The president reaffirmed that Ghana's fisheries sector is vital to the country's overall social and economic growth.
The fishing industry is critical for Ghana. The fishing industry is a very important part of our overall social and economic development. Just as sugar is important, alongside all of these are very important. Fisheries is critically important. It supports thousands of jobs, it supports thousands of truck drivers, the ice houses, the boat operators. So it is critical that we are working on supporting this industry, building capacity, improving to support the global phenomenon of climate change has effect on lots of different points. To ensure that we have sustainable supplies, we're working on expansion of the aquaculture industry so that production increases to have a stable production environment.
To ensure there are sustainable supplies of fish and other seafood, Dr. Ali asserted that the government continues to invest in expanding the aquaculture industry so that production can increase, which will allow for a more stable environment. The administration has established an aquaculture committee and launched a program to encourage the expansion of brackish water shrimp production along the quarantine coast, which is thriving and may exceed its initial yearly target. The government has budgeted over $700 million in 2022 for the development of this sector. In a motion presented to the National Assembly on Wednesday, opposition leader Aubrey Norton is calling for an international investigation into the allegation of bribery and corruption made against Vice President Byron Jaglio in a U.S. news report. A claim of bribe for contracts was made against Mr. Jaglio in an undercover Vice News investigative documentary, which caused him to become the focus of a corruption scandal. He has since consistently refuted the charges made against him. Opposition leader Norton has prepared a comprehensive motion requesting an international investigation since the opposition coalition has not stopped calling for the claims to be independently investigated. Norton said the nation cannot and should not turn a blind eye to the serious allegations of corruption circling the vice president. This was done in front of the written motion and its supporting documentation, which was presented to the clerk of the National Assembly.
We have just lodged with the clerk a motion that is aimed at dealing with the issues in Sugate. Particularly, it calls for a credible international investigative team to investigate the allegations of bribery and corruption leveled against Vice President Barra Jagdeo. May I also point out to you that Guyana is a signatory to the UN Convention on Corruption, and therefore Guyana has an obligation to live by that convention, which no doubt establishes the need for action against corrupt activities.
Meanwhile, Kemraj Ramchitan, the leader of the Alliance for Change, reaffirmed the demands that Mr. Jagdeo resign to create a way for an international investigation. He further stated that because of the scope and gravity of the charges of corruption against Jagdeo, his position should be terminated even if there is no investigation.
You have a vice president of the country who literally is being babysitted by the president in connection with such serious allegations. You can't go after the middleman or the investor when you get the boss man so much involved. And it is important then that we make sure that there is an independent commission of inquiry, if not as like the AFC had asked for a World Bank investigation. It is very important that we have an investigation. And by the way, he must come off as vice president completely, just like every other public servant who would have been interdicted. Until he is cleared and exonerated, well, then he could come back. And even then, we don't think he should come back.
Also, APNUFC has filed a court action challenging the report of the Committee of Privileges on the impending suspension of 8 opposition members of parliament. An Anna Catherine man was on Thursday placed on bail when he appeared at the Lenora Magistrates Court to answer to the charge of felonious wounding of 33-year-old Lance Corporal Rickland Edmondson. 22-year-old laborer Daniel Singh of Anna Catherine Church Street squatting area, West Coast, Demerara, appeared before Magistrate Zamina Sirprasad, where he was charged. Singh was not required to plead to the charge and was granted bail in the sum of $400,000. The court heard that on July 16, 2022, Lance Corporal Edmondson was on traffic patrol duty in the vicinity of Anna Catherine with a forced motorcycle when he observed a white motor canter driven by Daniel Singh, who was acting suspiciously. As a result, he stopped the motor canter and asked the driver to produce his license and other relevant documents. Singh drove away to his residence in Anna Catherine, and Lance Corporal chased after him. As Singh was about to be apprehended, his father and sister allegedly held onto the officer, and Singh picked up a piece of brick and threw it towards the officer, hitting him in his right eye, causing injuries. He was subsequently admitted as a patient in the male surgical ward. Singh will return to court on August 17, 2022 for a report and fixture. Stick around after the break. Contract for the Tacoma Road expansion inked, and ExxonMobil Guyana will be hosting a request for information clarification meeting in August.
Traveling soon? Then come into John Lewis Styles on Waterloo Street and let's help you choose the right set of luggage. You can choose to buy 3-piece luggage sets, or separate pieces, but the sets are always a better deal. Either available in soft poly, or ABS hard side material, with 4-wheeled spinners, and in many colors too. Also available are carry-on luggage, computer bags, duffel bags, backpacks, travel pillows, blankets and lots more to make your trip enjoyable. John Lewis Styles. Simply different.
Good girl forget things.
What's the problem, Granny?
I want money for borrow for those surgery. I was dancing and I fall and fracture my hip.
If you need some quick money, you should check Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop, Lot 238 South Road Border, Georgetown. Get jewelry made to order in just 72 hours. We also accept vehicles. Lender's, best rates, longest payback period.
Boys, I get through. Plus, I could dance again.
Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Furnishing your home or office has never been easier. Here at Kissoon's, our inventory of locally made and imported furniture, offered at amazing prices, will leave you wanting more. From vinyl, floor rugs and carpets, bedroom, dining and living room sets, mattresses, pillows, office desk, chairs and filing cabinets, outdoor benches and tables. We have a piece of furniture for every room imaginable in your home or office. Check out our flagship store at Industrial Site Rijnveld or one of our branches in New Amsterdam, Port Morant, Riverton and Camp Street. Kissoon's Furniture, furnishing homes for over 50 years.
Sooner or later you will have another power failure. Are you prepared for the next blackout? Some essential equipment such as security cameras, lights, internet, gate motors, and water pumps may stop working. How can you prevent the next blackout? InverterTech has an affordable solution for you. A strong UPS system which uses the latest inverter and solar battery technology to prevent blackout. We smartly calculate your average power demand so you don't spend more than you need to. Call 223-2233 for more information.
When you need money and you gotta get it fast, Creative Jewelry and Pawn Shop is the place for that confidential transaction in a quiet and secure location. You'll get the highest value per pennyweight for your gold and also enjoy the lowest interest rates and longest payback period too. Yes, for that instant transaction to solve a pressing financial problem. That Creative Jewelry and Pawn Shop, 46 Boyle Place, that's between the Ministry of Housing on Brickdam and White Castle Fish Shop, be your first and only choice. Creative Jewelry and Pawn Shop, safe and sound, solid and secure, always there for you. Telephone 231-7878 and 223-8955.
Welcome back. ExxonMobil Guyana will be hosting a request for information clarification meeting on August 9, 2022 at the Marriott Hotel in Georgetown. The company plans to put in place an agreement for the provision of integrated office facility management services. The company is also planning to implement agreements for integrated residential facility management services and for the provision of catering, cafeteria, and food management services, all to be done in and around Georgetown. ExxonMobil is on the hunt for multiple suppliers for a host of local services as its oil and gas operation in Guyana's offshore Stabroek Block rapidly expands. As such, the meeting starts at 9 a.m. and is open to suppliers interested in providing those services. ExxonMobil's operations are progressing, and its sustained exploration success in the Stabroek Block is driving Guyana's continued local capability development and stronger economic growth. The company has close to 4,000 Guyanese supporting its activities both onshore and offshore, an increase of more than 50% since 2019. A contract of over $250 million was inked on Wednesday between the Ministry of Agriculture and Associate Construction Services for the expansion of the Tacoma Road Region 10. The expansion will make around 30,000 acres of savanna land available for the growth of corn, soy, and sorghum. The 25-kilometer expansion will allow the area to benefit from reduced production costs through the reduction of transportation fees. The two parties signed the agreement on Wednesday during a ceremony held at the Ministry of Agriculture's boardroom. Apart from the massive road expansion, contracts were also signed for significant drainage and irrigation enhancement in regions 2, 3, and 4. Altogether, the total contracts awarded amounted to over $605 million. And Agricultural Minister Zulfikar Mustafa made it clear that the works must be done on time and following the specifications. The Guyana Marketing Corporation signed two contracts totaling over $22 million for the construction of a dehydrating facility at Hope and a retrofitting of the agro-processing facility at Charity and Thursday. The dehydrating facility will be used to convert fresh fruits, nuts, and vegetables into dehydrated products for the local and regional markets. It will enable stakeholders to meet CARICOM export requirements for dehydrated commodities. In addition, this facility will transform Guyana's agriculture and manufacturing sector as Guyana has the capability of producing approximately 2 million kilograms of dried fruits to satisfy the regional demands. The agro-processing facility at Charity will be retrofitted to encourage agro-processing and contribute to food security. Last Thursday, the Guyana Marketing Corporation conducted a post-harvest management training with cherry producers located at Luni, Suicide Highway. The training provided information on best practices to maintain the fruit's quality and minimize post-harvest loss. Don't go away after the break. Mexico rations water in city of Montreal amid extreme drought, and Bangladesh, schools in flood-hit northeast reopens.
When you need money and you gotta get it fast, Creative Jewelry and Pawn Shop is the place for that confidential transaction in a quiet and secure location. You'll get the highest value per pennyweight for your gold and also enjoy the lowest interest rates and longest payback period too. Yes, for that instant transaction to solve a pressing financial problem. That Creative Jewelry and Pawn Shop, 4-6 Boyle Place, that's between the Ministry of Housing on Brickdam and White Castle Fish Shop, be your first and only choice. Creative Jewelry and Pawn Shop, safe and sound, solid and secure, always there for you. Telephone 231-7878 and 223-8955.
Furnishing your home or office has never been easier. Here at Kissoon's, our inventory of locally made and imported furniture, offered at amazing prices, will leave you wanting more. From vinyl, floor rugs and carpets, bedroom, dining and living room sets, mattresses, pillows, office desk, chairs and filing cabinets, outdoor benches and tables. We have a piece of furniture for every room imaginable in your home or office. Check out our flagship store at Industrial Site Rijnveld or one of our branches in New Amsterdam, Port Morant, Riverton and Camp Street. Kissoon's Furniture, furnishing homes for over 50 years.
Sooner or later you will have another power failure. Are you prepared for the next blackout? Some essential equipment such as security cameras, lights, internet, gate motors, and water pumps may stop working. How can you prevent the next blackout? InverterTech has an affordable solution for you. A strong UPS system which uses the latest inverter and solar battery technology to prevent blackout. We smartly calculate your average power demand so you don't spend more than you need to. Call 223-2233 for more information.
Traveling soon? Then come into John Lewis Styles on Waterloo Street and let's help you choose the right set of luggage. You can choose to buy 3-piece luggage sets or separate pieces, but the sets are always a better deal. Either available in soft poly or ABS hard side material with 4-wheeled spinners and in many colors too. Also available are carry-on luggage, computer bags, duffel bags, backpacks, travel pillows, blankets and lots more to make your trip enjoyable. John Lewis Styles. Simply different.
Good girl forget things. What's the problem, Granny? I want money for borrow for those surgery. I was dancing and I fall and fracture my hip.
If you need some quick money, you should check Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop, Lot 238 South Road Border, Georgetown. Get jewelry made to order in just 72 hours. We also accept vehicles. Lenders, best rates, longest payback period.
Boys, I get through. Plus, I could dance again.
Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Welcome back. Now we take a look at news in the region and around the world. Colombia's new Congress has been sworn in, and for the first time, a left-wing coalition holds the most seats. It is also the most diverse, with more indigenous, black, and female members of parliament than ever before. Al Jazeera's Alessandro Rampiete reports.
The makeup of Colombia's new Congress couldn't be more different than the previous one. For the first time in history, a progressive coalition is the largest political bloc in both chambers. It's the result of unprecedented elections that will bring a true leftist, Gustavo Petro, in power in August.
This is a historic Congress for a number of reasons. First, more than 60% of representatives are new. It's an important renovation. Second, it's diverse, with more indigenous representatives that come from rural Colombia. And finally, for the first time, 30% are women. This is very promising.
But the inauguration was fraught with controversy. Outgoing President Iván Duque delivered a feisty speech defending his accomplishments during his tenure, despite abysmal polling numbers around 20%. He attacked the incoming majority, saying that they could put people's private property at risk.
It is possible to have social justice in remote areas without expropriations and prejudice. And we offered an inflexible compromise to peace with legality that advanced in the territories.
He He was repeatedly interrupted by new Congress representatives. They called him a liar for saying he supported the implementation of the peace deal and the protection of social leaders who were killed in unprecedented numbers during Duque's administration. The new Congress is tasked with an ambitious reform agenda to combat poverty and inequality. This includes a major tax reform to fund social programs and long-postponed land, pension and police reforms. To do so, Petro has built a coalition with centrist parties that should assure him a majority. Experts believe he will take advantage of a honeymoon period few of his predecessors had.
For the first time, we will have the possibility of getting through Congress radical reforms coming from the left. Nevertheless, given the fact that this is a majority coalition and not a governing coalition from the left-wing party, those reforms will have to be tempered down in order to be able to pass through Congress.
The question now is just how long will that honeymoon last, given the fact that the country is going through difficult economic times with high inflation, high unemployment, among other issues, and an electorate that's been demanding change and reform quickly and surely. Alessandro Ampietti, Al Jazeera, Bogotá.
A water crisis has reached critical levels in Mexico's wealthiest city. Residents of Monterrey, home to more than 5 million people, are having to ration water amid extreme drought conditions. Al Jazeera's Manuel Rapallo reports.
Extreme drought conditions in northern Mexico. This reservoir in the outskirts of Monterrey is almost entirely dry, and many here worry the same will happen to the local economy.
I worry over another week of this. Things would only worsen.
Boats are now stranded atop the dry lake bed at La Boca Dam. It's been months since the region has seen any significant rainfall.
Experts have identified several factors that are contributing to the ongoing water crisis here in northern Mexico, the most significant of which is a weather phenomenon known as La Niña, which climate scientists say has been exacerbated by climate change, leading to one of the worst droughts in the last 30 years.
Scientists say La Niña has disrupted regular weather patterns in northern Mexico. This means that rains that were supposed to begin in May still haven't arrived, and there's no telling when they will. Environmental activists say that despite the drought, bottling companies like Coca-Cola, Heineken, and others have continued large-scale water extraction, making the situation even worse.
We're living a great contradiction in this city. We owe a great deal to the big companies, but it's been at the cost of the well-being of citizens, and that's a problem. We need to completely rethink the question of water usage.
The water crisis in Monterrey, a city of more than 5 million people, has reached a critical point. Many now rely almost entirely on public water tanks. For some, they are the only source of water available.
We have no water, nothing comes out of the tap, and we have to carry it back home for cooking, cleaning, and even the bathroom. We buy our drinking water from the supermarket.
Mexico's president has vowed to continue to support efforts to supply water to various cities in northern Mexico. But experts say the strategy is not sustainable, adding that the only real solution is rain. Manuel Rapallo, Al Jazeera, Monterrey.
And internationally, schools have reopened in northeastern Bangladesh after the worst floods in a century. Tens of thousands of pupils have not been to class for weeks. The United Nations estimates nearly 20,000 people, including 3,000 children, are still living in temporary shelters. Al Jazeera's Tanvir Chowdhury reports.
Most children in the flood-affected Sylhet region returned to class on July the 19th. But for some, getting to school isn't easy. Farzana Akhtar and her schoolmates had to take a boat on their first day back.
Today is the first day we are going to school, as our homes were damaged and partly submerged by the flooding. It's still difficult because of the remaining water in the area.
The UN estimates nearly 20,000 people, including 3,000 children, are still living in temporary shelters.
This school was used as a shelter. Aside from people, livestock was also kept here, so we had to clean up the entire place before reopening. Only around 30 to 40% of students have returned to the school.
The government said it's already made plans to provide new books and educational materials.
More than 400 educational institutions in the region were used as shelters. Since the floodwaters receded, we've been able to reopen most of the schools this week.
Some people have returned home and are trying to repair the damage. Water points and latrine needs to be repaired, and communication is still very difficult as floodwater in many places have not totally receded yet. Ramiza Khatun and her family are rice farmers. They're worried about their future as they have no other source of income.
There was so much stuff I had, all washed away. I barely survived. My husband had to break the wall to rescue me from inside the house, which was completely flooded.
Ramiza's 8-year-old daughter, Thani, is anxious to return to school.
My children's education is stalled because there's still water around our home. The roads are muddy, full of sludge. We don't have a boat.
A government climate action policy due to be launched ahead of the COP27 conference in November suggests any new developments to be built using water-resistant construction materials. But for the families who have lost everything, it will take months, if not years, to rebuild their homes, and they need all the assistance they can get. Tanveer Chaudhary, Al Jazeera, Sylhet, Bangladesh.
And that is it for today's regional and international news. Here now is your third weather forecast. That is all for this edition of Channel 2 Headline News Updates. Tune in on Friday at 5:30 p.m. for another episode. Be sure to subscribe, like, and follow us on Facebook and YouTube. Until then, please take care of yourself and each other.